and boom goes the dynamite.
And welcome back to another edition of the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is the Daily Dive. I am your host, Michael Carvelis. Our show is presented by Daily Dive Lax. Go to the social media page, click the link tree. There you will see our Daily Dive store. Check it out. Support the show as we grow the game. To everyone on the West Coast, good morning. To everyone on the East Coast, good afternoon. It's time for lunch and some lacrosse talk. On today's show, I'll be getting into NLL Finals Game 3. We'll look one more time at the iconic Game 3 of this final series. Cannot wait to break down some things that we've seen so far in my keys to the game for both teams. Our Fanatic segment will be Dylan Ward against Matt Vince. Which goalie has the upper hand and which one could be better all time at the end of this? Our last brew, presented by Beaver's Coffee Company, code Daily Dive at checkout, is the PLL's historic preseason. Cannot wait to get into that. But first, our top story presented by that Daily Dive store. It's NLL Finals Game number 3. Now, we all know tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus, and I believe it's still a thing. I don't believe Brentford has gotten that to change just yet. Yeah, we're still on ESPN Plus tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern. A champion will be crowned, not just for Brentford's first season, not just for Daily Dive's first season, but for the rematch of the Colorado Mammoth and the Buffalo Bandits. In this series, we have seen the Buffalo Bandits offense explode at times, and at other times, they've gotten in their own way with penalties. Fans might get mad at the referees, but to be fair, when you're undisciplined against this Colorado team, the fact is they will capitalize. I do believe Dane Smith has been the best player in this series. Ryan Lee has been really good as well for the Colorado Mammoth in terms of players that aren't named goalies. Because if you know the show by now, I'm actually a big fan of goalies. I do believe it's great when goalies can get MVP consideration, which is why I was happy that in the end that Christian Del Bianco did win the MVP of the season. But this game, the Buffalo Bandits have 4 championships in their history. They won it in 1992, 1993, 1996, and of course 2008, all with John Tavares. John Tavares is now the coach of the Bandits. And so far, the Buffalo Bandits have lost play with finals after finals after finals. In 2016, they lost to Saskatchewan Rush, who were a juggernaut. In 2019, they lost to Del Bianco in the Roughnecks. Last year, lost to the Mammoth. This year, lost Game 2 to the Mammoth. The fact is, the Buffalo Bandits are the ones playing with a gigantic monkey, or should I say gorilla, on their shoulders. Yes, the fact is, the Colorado Mammoth, while we like to say they are the underdogs, technically have nothing to lose. If you lose this finals, is anyone really mad at Colorado? Colorado has pushed this team to the brink in back-to-back seasons. Of course, last year they were to pull up the upset. Would anyone really be concerned as Colorado, even the best Mammoth fans out there? I don't think anybody would be concerned with the Mammoth losing this finals. There would be major concern as this game grows, especially from the Daily Dive, if the Bandits blow this again. They're by far, in my opinion, the better team on paper. You can argue Eli McLaughlin and Ryan Lee and Connor Robinson and Dylan Ward are all fantastic players, and I will not disagree with you. But I have that much more respect for Dane Smith, young phenom Dehogan Anico, Matt Vince, who might be the greatest goalie of all time if he's not already. So many great players on the Bandits. Of course, Chase Fraser, Ian McKay, Steve Priolo. a team that is stacked and coached by John Tavares. It doesn't get much better than this. And then one name I did not mention on purpose is Josh Byrne. If Josh Byrne plays Game 3 and the Bandits still lose, it's going to be a nightmare for Buffalo fans. Many fans in Buffalo are expecting this to happen, but they're also on the edge of their seats emotionally. Because again, Dane Smith, I will say it again, and come at me on Twitter if you want, I don't care. 0-3 in the finals. He has to win this game. He is too good of a player to not find a way to rally the troops. Matt Vince has won 3 championships with the Nighthawks, has lost 3 with the Bandits. He cannot lose this game. To be etched in the history of Buffalo, you cannot just make it, you have to win it. This entire city has seen sports team after sports team make it and fail miserably. The Buffalo Bills lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls. This might be worse than that. If you take away the aspect of the NFL being the superior product in terms of popularity, take that away, look at the advantage the Bandits have had as a roster and as a team that's coached well. They should be the favorites every time they step out on the floor. And that's a testament to their greatness. But if they find a way to lose this game, it will be monumental in the history of the National Lacrosse League. Because as Buffalo Sports Collective has said, PK told us that his partner told them on the Buffalo Sports Collective, if not now, when? And that is the question we must ask. For the Mammoth, they have been great. Their defense has been otherworldly once again. Dylan Ward has been on such an amazing feat. But they are the ones playing with house money. Again, if they lose, they've already got a championship last year. Does it really matter for Colorado fans? Especially if the Nuggets beat the Heat. This all matters. And as the game grows, and as we look back as this being one of the biggest seasons of all time, the pressure is on the Bandits to win. I have already said I believe the Bandits win. I think they cover the 1.5. If that's still a spread, I believe Bandits win this game. I believe Buffalo is victorious. I think talent and pedigree prevails. I think they've been here too many times to not win this game. This is a winner take all. If it was game 2, as we saw the pressure, great, fine, we lost. This is your game 7. This is what you play for your entire lives. If you want to play lacrosse your entire life, this is what you play for. And I fully expect Dane Smith, and even if Josh Byrne does not play, I still expect the Bandits to win this game because they're supposed to. If they don't, it'll be a failure. And no one can say otherwise. You cannot come at me on Twitter or on the show. You cannot convince me this will be anything short of a failure if the Mammoth win this game tomorrow. Even the Buffalo Bandits players, Steve Priolo was not happy after game 1, even when they won. He was like, we know this is not the end. And he was very well aware of the stakes at hand. Again, as the newer fans come into the sport, how will Dane Smith and Josh Byrne, DeHoga, Coach Tavares, Matt Vince, how will they be remembered? And maybe by this team. And I cannot wait. Tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Plus, and of course, TSN in Canada. I really hope, again, Brett Frude comes on, goes in the ESPN offices again and says, hey, we're going on ABC or we're going on ESPN. If the thing is on ABC, you're going to see a video from me on Twitter. Just know that. Not that matters. When I come back to this Friday edition of Daily Dive, we're going to talk about Dylan Ward against Matt Vince. If the Mammoth win, Is it possible that Dylan Ward could pass Matt Vince in legacy? That could be interesting. We're back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to this Friday edition of Daily Dive. Thank you for tuning in on Daily Dive Lax on social media and also on our YouTube page, where 43 people have already subscribed in just Season 1 of Daily Dive. Reminder, the next Friday is our final edition of Season 1, but there is another announcement to come, so do not miss that announcement. Next, probably Friday. I may announce it Monday if I'm feeling, frisky. We're going to do Friday. Next Friday, we'll have a nice little announcement for those of you that crave the dive. If you want the best in sports merchandise, head to Daily Dive Lax on social media, click the link tree, and shop the Fanatics logo. When you do so, it is where every league's major apparel outlet is. So get sports memorabilia, get yourself some jerseys, team hats, team hoodies, all kind of stuff by using the Fanatics website. And when you do so through our link tree and make a purchase, it helps the show out tremendously. And for that, we do thank you. Dylan Ward and Matt Vince are matched up in now back-to-back years in the National Lacrosse League Finals. Dylan Ward is a one-time champion and a one-time Finals MVP after, of course, winning it last year. Matt Vince, aforementioned, has already won 3 championships with the Rochester Nighthawks. But in what could be his final game as a goalie of the Buffalo Bandits, or in lacrosse in general, I don't know what that is. Remember that he turns 41 a week from today. This could be Matt Vince's final game. Matt Vince is going to go down right now as the best goalie we have ever seen in lacrosse. He is amazing. He has the numbers to prove it. He has the longevity. He has everything you want, except for a Buffalo Bandits title. Are you noticing a theme on this show? Yes, the fact is Dylan Ward has nothing to lose, but yet everything to gain. Can you imagine if Dylan Ward, this goalie for Colorado, who really could have had an MVP conversation, as I mentioned, and of course Adam Levy mentioned on this show as a guest last week. Dylan Ward was exceptional this season with 77.9 save percentage, and he was the only consistent thing besides the head coach this year. Dylan Ward is just 32 years of age, and remember, has 1 championship win in his only appearance last year. Can you imagine if Dylan Ward was able to outperform Matt Vince again? And when I use the term outperform, I use that term very lightly for Matt Vince, because as I mentioned before, in Game 2, I thought Matt Vince was incredible. And the fact that Dylan Ward was able to lock it down even better shows you his peak might be higher. And I don't think Matt Vince is washed by any means. In fact, it's not for Matt Vince. We don't know if the Bandits even make it here. Obviously, they have the number 1 seed because Matt Vince, in a game that Nick Rose had the better game, was able to lock down in the last 40 seconds of the game. Matt Vince is going through this amazing process as an athlete when you still have something left. You don't know when it'll come out as a fan, but you know that athlete who's an all-timer, like LeBron James this year. Yeah, he wasn't, they didn't win the finals. They're not even in the finals. But LeBron James, really, I think he scored 40 points in that final game in that final series clinching game for the Nuggets. He found something in the bottom of his chest, in the bottom of his sports soul that was able to come out. I'm expecting that kind of beast to come out of Matt Vince in game number 3. Again, you're in Buffalo. But Dylan Ward brings up the conversation of, what if I beat this guy back-to-back years? And not only just that, what if Dylan Ward, a couple years from now, wins a 3rd championship? Because Matt Vince, if he loses tomorrow, would then have 3 championships. Dylan Ward would have 2, including 2 against Matt Vince. I'm not saying the stats will be there. I'm saying there are fans out there. Trust me, I'm a LeBron fan. There are fans out there that believe Michael Jordan's the cream of the crop, the goat of the goats, because he has 6 rings. It's an interesting concept, the way sports fans' minds work. Sometimes you got sports fans that just love you for your longevity. Some sports fans just love you for showing up. Some sports fans value your season as a complete and utter failure if you lose in the championship. Even if you make it to the game 3, or should I say game 7, it does not matter to them. You lost. And that's where my Dane Smith kind of nitpicking came from the other day. It's not the fact I don't think Dane Smith is great. I think Dane Smith is fantastic. I think Dane Smith was my MVP of the season. I think Dane Smith might go down as the best player of all time, considering John Tavares played in a league with 9 teams. That matters 20 years from even now. But that's where my arguments come from, is I'm looking at it from the perspective of fans that are like, hey, you didn't win it all. You're not good enough. If Matt Vince goes 0-2 against Dylan Ward, even though Matt Vince has played phenomenally in 2 games, and even if he plays good in game 3 and Dylan Ward just outshines him, there are fans out there as this sport grows exponentially that will view Dylan Ward as just better. And I'll be honest, I've not ever seen Matt Vince in his 3 championship runs with Rochester. And I'll tell you what, my own personal homework, I might go ahead and look those up prior to game 3, if they're available on YouTube. And I will check out Matt Vince's peak. But right now, albeit against 39 and 40-year-old, almost 41-year-old Matt Vince, Dylan Ward has shown a higher peak in these playoffs. I thought Matt Vince against the Toronto Rock in the second game they played in the regular season, I thought there was nothing short of spectacular in the final 40 seconds. Dylan Ward probably almost single-handedly knocked out the Roughnecks. Dylan Ward had to shut down the Seals. Dylan Ward had to take out this band's team. This could be the greatest goalie run ever. And on top of that, he's got to take out Matt Vince. The storylines of this goalie matchup is going to be lethal. Another thing, I personally, as a fat guy, well, not fat, even when I wasn't fat, I was still a big guy. I appreciate the goalies. I feel like hockey fans they appreciate goalies, but they just don't honorate them in the Hall of Fame. The media doesn't do that. I don't know why that is. In lacrosse, we appreciate these goalies more. The kid from Penn State was single-handedly keeping them in the game against Duke in the controversial win for Duke. I love this goalie talk. I love Del Bianco won the MVP in the same year that Matt Vince and Dylan Ward are facing off once again. And what could be Dylan Ward's swan song. The stories write themselves. And oh, by the way, Graham Perreault already has earlier today and last night on NLLstats.com, Graham Perreault had the Bandits players is already losing the championship. So naturally, to play at the Sports is Rigged crowd, I told Graham Perreault on Twitter, did Graham Perreault leak the NLL script? He said it was a bug, and I figured it was a bug, but I had to poke fun at him. But this is going to be an incredible game. And coming up next, I'm going to wrap this season all together, this NLL season. I'm going to tell you why the PLL preseason came at the right time and what the numbers say about lacrosse fans that have been loyal for so many years. When I come back, it's PLL preseason numbers, what they meant for lacrosse. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Daily Dive here on Daily Dive Lax on social media and, of course, on YouTube. It is the Friday edition, the second to last Friday of Season 1 of Daily Dive. If you want new flavors of coffee you never knew you needed, head to B-Riz Coffee Company. That's BRizCoffeeCo.com. They have coffee made by gamers, for gamers, and, of course, lacrosse and Daily Dive fans. So to give us credit, use the code Daily Dive at checkout on B-Riz Coffee Company. Thank you so much for that. Well, the PLL had a historic preseason. How historic was it? Let's look at their official Twitter page. Here we go, and let me go make sure I have this correct banner to give these folks credit here. I'm dumb. So basically, the PLL has recognized that they had a historic preseason. Because the fact is, Paul Rabel has been campaigning on Get Up, on First Take, with all the ESPN executives saying, hey, I'm the LeBron of lacrosse. Here are the comparisons of NFL players. The dude has been doing his due diligence. So it's natural that I'm going to give him credit and check out these numbers. Sorry, now we can officially do this without being screwed. Okay. So they call it PLL's biggest preseason ever. They call it PLL to the Minute 2023. The engagement was 39 million. aka the number of people that commented or clicked on or whatever. They had 327 million views, which was a 166% increase year over year. Impressions, 490 million impressions. The projections are 1.34 billion impressions. And not only is that the case, but the PLL also is on ESPN Plus, and not just ESPN Plus like us in the NLL, but also they're on ABC this weekend. They're on ESPN this weekend. You cannot miss Premier Lacrosse. What does it mean? And what does it mean for the NLL Finals? Well, let's get into it. I have had my fair share of criticism of Paul Rabel. I'm not going to go down the list of what I criticized him for. But Paul Rabel, the former Major League Lacrosse champion that he is, the former NLL star, this man somehow got in the pockets of ESPN. Even Dan Orlovsky has been campaigning for PLL. And he and the Rabel brothers, Paul and Mark, have almost single/double-handedly grown the sport before our eyes. I have always been a fan of lacrosse. Ever since I saw it the first time in the college game on ESPN years ago, like 2010. I played the Casey Powell lacrosse video game back in 2018. Just great lacrosse stuff. And then I saw the NLL and fell completely in love, to the point where I was asked to do Daily Dive. And I was concerned with how the season might go. I will admit that Christian Del Bianco, the MVP of the league, and of course Curtis Dixon, the Seals' first-round exit, they did contribute to our growth in the last month. In fact, the last month for us saw us average 279 Twitter views a show, which, as you'll notice, is kind of hard to do sometimes. You have to have a little bit of a reach in order to do that. And they, no doubt, helped with that, with Adam Levy, Graham Perot, etc. But what this means for lacrosse, the PLL numbers, is that if you're not a fan of it before, you are now. And now your fandom is paying off. There might be another 10-year run that we have to go through, and it might be a little bit longer than we would like it. But for those of you fans that have stuck around before even I was born, for crying out loud, for the players that worked the Monday through Friday jobs and played lacrosse, we should give a huge shout out to the PLL officially on Daily Dive. Because NLL Finals Game 3 could not be any better than the script has shown us. Last year, Bandits were the best team in lacrosse. They win Game 1 of the finals, lose Game 2, setting up a Game 3 in Buffalo. This season, one of the best teams in lacrosse, go through the postseason well. Win Game 1, lose Game 2, Game 3 in their house, same opponents. And all the while, Paul Rabel is going on ESPN campaigning for the sport of lacrosse. I am so excited for the future. And I think tomorrow, again, I cannot stress this importance enough. If the NLL Finals Game 3 is flexed to even ESPN and God Almighty, dare I say ABC, your fandom and loyalty would have paid off. Because now the steps are finally moving up and the ladder is extending. You've waited for this moment. And the reason I said to Brentford, I'm going to explain myself on that again. When Brentford was able to, if the rumors are true, go into the offices of ESPN and say, hey, the college lacrosse game is on ESPN2. Why can't we be on ESPN2? It was kind of like baiting them because, yeah, we can argue till we're blue in the face that lacrosse is a great sport. But it has to work out for the TV viewership as well. And so it's like, yeah, sure, naturally right after the lacrosse championship in college, sure, we can have Game 2. And that's what we got. So PLL on ABC has their first game at 1 o'clock. At 3:30, you have on ESPN another PLL game. Now, granted, ABC, I believe, might have the NBA Finals tomorrow. I'll check that just to make sure if my pipe dream can just shut up. Oh, it's not till Sunday. Let me go and check my Xfinity streaming. And I want to make sure what we're going to be up against and if this is a possibility. Again, ESPNU would be cool. I'm not going to deny that. But I'm going to check the ABC broadcast for tomorrow. So bear with me here. I mean, can you imagine? Oh, there we go. I'm looking through. Looking through. I'm too excited for this. I'm so annoying. Okay, so we're at the 1:30, 4 o'clock tomorrow. College World Series. Guys, it's possible. Tomorrow at that primetime slot is America's Funniest Home Videos. I'm just saying there's a chance. And I would like it to be true. But again, shout out to the PLL for what they've done by at least ESPN, not because ESPN Plus had NLL on its app, and it was like, good lord, we had like scroll like to other sports, then go all the way over to lacrosse. It was a pain in the butt. Paul Rabel, if we get on ABC tomorrow or ESPN Linear Network in the US, I'm going to be ecstatic, and I'm going to be ecstatic regardless that Game 3 is going to happen on ESPN Plus. I mean, I couldn't be happier. But if we cannot usurp America's Funniest Home Videos, I'm going to need more. I'm going to need like way more from you in season 2, Brett Fruit. But there's a chance. I'm excited. I know you guys are too. Thanks for everyone that has watched this show and, of course, contributed to our growing the brand on social media. Thanks to all of the guests who come on this show. And, of course, everyone behind the scenes doing a great job to work on our announcement for next week. And, of course, our Season 2 upgrades, if you will. But for everyone, I am Michael Carbella saying have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Whoever wins, may the best team win. And may lacrosse win in general. See you Monday, same time, same place. This has been Daily Dive.